Hi, this is Deval Patrick, former governor of Massachusetts, and I've got a podcast. We call it Being American. In each episode, we talk about the major challenges that people and families and communities all over the country are facing that need real solutions, and how a better understanding of our shared values and objectives can help us bridge the kinds of differences that keep us from those solutions. I interview political figures, elected officials, grassroots organizers, regular citizens, folks in and out of politics and civic life who are in search, like me, of common wisdom in these uncommon times. Join us and help bridge the divide. It's the Being American podcast, which you can subscribe to or download wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to For All, a podcast by ACLU of Mississippi, offering lessons and stories on how to advocate for all Mississippians. I'm Candace Coleman, Communications Director at ACLU of Mississippi.
And I'm Delana Tavicle, the Smart Justice Advocate here at the ACLU of Mississippi.
This week, we are continuing our series of conversations with Mississippi immigrants, sharing their experiences with discrimination and the barriers they face as Latinx people in the South. You are about to hear from Efren, who is a lifelong immigrants' rights organizer currently working for a Mississippi-based organization called IAJE.
IAJE, IAJE, stands for Immigrant Alliance for Justice and Equity. They're an immigrant-led grassroots organization with bases across Mississippi. They cover a range of issues affecting immigrants, including labor, LGBTQ, and language rights. Efren currently serves as their organizing director, but this is far from the beginning of his work as a community organizer. In this conversation I had with Efren, you'll hear about the lessons and concerns that he's taken from his experiences as an activist and a community member.
Yeah, I'm from Honduras. I'm here in this area, Jackson, for over 20 years. And before I joined IAJE, I was kind of doing similar job on my own, with my job. And people, always kind of count on me to do this. And that's the reason IAJE hired me or looked for me and asked me to join IAJE and work with IAJE.
Could you go into a bit more detail about your organizing history for immigrants' rights, both inside Mississippi and outside Mississippi, some of the things that you've done, communities you've worked with, all of that?
First involved for me, to work with the community or help the community was in Miami. I learned little things there. I work with them, with the community. Mostly at that time was only like situations, like emergency here, there, dead person, accident, fire. But, it was always involved in things similar to this, because in my country I was doing similar situations. So I like things that has been done over there. Here too, I get involved with the people or with some leaders, community leaders. And from there, Miami, New Orleans, I can say that I was kind of part of the first few immigration rights to start, I would say, complain or start asking about the paper for everyone. And that was like in 1995, a little more, almost 2000. In the area of Jackson, where I moved to Jackson to Mississippi, that too started kind of support other groups that was already here, like Pueblo, Mira, and my own, and reach the community, bring him and work with them, or volunteer mostly, and after is IAJE. First time I worked for some organization. Before I was kind of always volunteer or do stuff on my own.
And so what is your job title now with IAJE?
It's organizing director for the community, or field director.
And what are some of the details of your job? So what's kind of your daily life like? What are your goals and objectives and all of that now?
Right now is to get the community, do workshops, in different towns around Mississippi to tell about the organization, what we do, and what we offer, and train in different stuff or programs that we have for the community. We have English, right, to teach English, computer classes, learn how to make their own business. The other, we have a art class, music class, sport classes, or sport training, I will say like that. We have all this. Plus, the main thing is the always needed for the community that includes immigration. That's one important part of the main part, I guess.
What do you think is important about these programs? Why are they so necessary for the community?
It's important because, for years, we don't have a voice or we don't have anybody can support this, in these areas, health education. There's nobody or it's not exactly place from the government in this area, Mississippi, we don't have that support. It's very hard for the community try to reach with them. They have problems, especially with the English barrier. That's number one. And the second, about laws and rules and all this stuff, they have any different departments. People don't know, but we have the right to have them, special, I could say, English interpreters in any of these departments. If you go to a clinic, they have to have. It's a law. It's a rule. They have it. Even Mississippi have it. Even there's the only one state there's English speaking, formal. The other state they accept the other another language or any language, right? Not here. Everything here has to be English. Now, if you want to get something in Spanish, example, it's not allowed. Like you have the interpreter, but I'm talking about other support like books, rules or things the community can get. They don't allow in schools. University, sure, you and your own and your room, you maybe have it, but if you want to have it there publicly or have in the library or things like that, they don't let you. And that's the reason we I see it's necessary for our group to do that, to let the people know about what the right they have about this.
Delana, pieces of what Efren is saying ties directly back into what we learned the last two episodes from Jamie and Vanessa. The language barrier, it plays a major role in how immigrants with Spanish native tongues are treated.
Right. And a way that we and other immigrants' rights groups approach our advocacy is through community empowerment, which includes ensuring that immigrants, regardless of language capabilities, know their entitlements as persons living in the United States. On our end, we offer Know Your Rights pamphlets in English and Spanish on what to do if you're approached by local or federal law enforcement. In collaboration with partners including El Pueblo and Mississippi Immigrants' Rights Alliance, several thousands of these pamphlets have already been distributed in central and southern Mississippi. It's important that these tools are designed and made available in collaboration with community, which is what makes the work of local organizers like Efren so essential. If any listeners are interested in receiving these materials or learning more, I would be happy to connect folks to the information that they need. Feel free to contact me at dtavakol@aclums.org. That's DTAVAKOL@aclu-ms.org, or check out our website, aclu-ms.org, for more information.
All right, thanks, Delana. Let's get back to Efren.
So what is some of the discrimination that you faced? You referenced that you've had these experiences too. Could you talk a bit more about that?
I don't get too much discrimination. I guess I gotta say this, and maybe because I'm kind of little white, and that changed a little bit. And plus, whatever attitude, whatever I know, growing, working, know my rights, and that's I don't have that exactly, but I see in some other jobs, I see how they treat the Latinos. And that's why I'm talking about discrimination. And they don't, they don't pay it right. They talk to them very bad, because they think they probably don't understand everything they say, but it's at least you understand something or somebody say something, right? And me, I was kind of involved, like in the middle, because sometimes I was the foreman, supervisor, or the boss, but I had kind of deal with the top and with the Latinos on the in between. And, and I see when they talk about it, I hear them. Maybe they don't say it to them directly sometimes. Another time they say, but people don't understand. And that's what I mean with discrimination.
Okay, let's pause here, Delana, because Efren said something that I really want to clarify. He said that he doesn't face as much discrimination because he's a little more white. And by that, he meant he passes much of the time for a person closer to Caucasian than Latino. Efren is acknowledging here that because he knows English and because he has this proximity to whiteness, that he's afforded promotion and opportunities that aren't always accessible rather for much of his community. So this is where racism and colorism cross, and it has shown up in histories of all people of color.
Right. And this is just one way that we can recognize intersectionality play out within a specific group. So folks are often pigeonholed into boxes that don't always reflect the complexity of identity. U.S. Census data, for example, includes Hispanics as white, yet in activist spaces, Hispanic and Latinx people are categorized as brown, recognizing the ways in which their oppression mirrors that of other communities of color in this country. Efren's experiences as a white passing Latino are really one look at how no group is a monolith.
One of the things is the health issues. That's one main thing. Normally, they're always asking for IDs, Social Security. If you don't have it, they attend you, but they maybe attend you the first time, but then for the second time, you don't provide this. And different, don't have to be the hospital, it can be any clinic, any health department, and they don't allow you to see the doctor. And sometimes they want you to bring an interpreter. That's another thing. And because you can afford one, maybe, because it's cost money, you bring your child, but your child is not supposed to be there. He need to be, he's not older enough to understand the language, the medical language. What the doctor say, if he say it wrong, can be very damage, for the person. But in the other jobs, like police stations or any other departments, it's kind of same thing. You can go there, try to get some, like a school example. You try to register your son. Even your son born here, they give you a hard time because they want you, they ask you for specific papers, right?
That's really infuriating.
Yeah, you get upset about it. It's people all the time calling me about it. Just get a call yesterday for that.
How much of immigrants' adversities in Mississippi would you say are related to the ways that these communities have been treated by local or federal law enforcement agencies?
They see your driving, they stop you for nothing. And they choose a reason. They say something about a light or something, but it's not that. They want you provide papers. That's the number one, because they are working with ICE, immigration officers. They even officers, they are kind of disguised, or they are using police uniform. They have the eyes too, but they're very little. You don't see it, you think they are police. And when they stop you and the car police, they are using, and you can see them, and that's when they arrest you or take you to jail. But in different places, like I say, it's more heavy.
Are there any kind of specific stories of this sort of hardship that immigrants have faced that stuck with you throughout your work?
That had to get close to you, and as soon as you get closer, you try or answer something because you don't go wrong when you see them. But that's the way, or knock the door at the apartments or houses, and they came with this picture, right? And they say, "Oh, do you know this guy?" As soon as you say anything or open the door or something, they say, "Give me your papers." You don't have it. I don't have it. Or have this. Okay, come on. They arrest you. And similar situation I seen in apartment complex. I saw this kind of broke by force the doors and grabbed this kid, the 15 years kid. They even kick him or punch him, throw it to the ground. But the father and him, they have permit to stay here. But they took him by mistake, I guess. I don't know. Well, that's what they say. They have to take it. They have order for them. And like I said, they lie a lot of times. That's some of the cases I can say that has been, I see it.
Efren says that he hopes to see everyone in charge, from the Biden administration and ICE to state and local officials, to respect the rights of immigrants of all statuses.
So how do we show up for each other? That's the question that we'll try to answer each episode. As Efren mentioned in his stories, oftentimes local law enforcement agents assist ICE agents in finding and arresting people who are undocumented, and even wrongfully arresting those who are documented. So ally with immigrant communities and immigrant neighbors and demand that your local law enforcement agencies end their voluntary collaboration with ICE. Thank you, Delana and Efren, for a very informative conversation. We have one more episode in this series on immigrants' rights. Next week, we'll be revisiting our town hall with Congressman Benny Thompson, the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. For more information on ACLU of Mississippi's current work to end local law enforcement's entanglement with ICE, visit aclums.org, or you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at ACLU_MS and on Facebook at ACLU of Mississippi. Go be an advocate for all.